Joe Biden's farewell addresses are getting disturbing. So last night he gave his farewell address from the Oval Office to the American people, where he issued a stark and grim warning for the future. And I'm gonna show you all that and the mainstream media's reaction to it. I don't know how he can stand there in front of these people in uniform who lay their lives on the line to defend our nation and make them celebrate and applaud a policy that lowers their capability. Now let's get into Biden insulting the military by celebrating the withdrawal from Afghanistan like it was some massive success, and also exposing to the military that they have a brain-dead commander-in-chief, as he says Europe should want to join NATO. Watch.
When I ask you to end our nation's longest war, it rose to the occasion, evacuating Americans, allies, and our Afghan partners, accomplishing the largest airlift in military history, and ending the war with the same courage that defined American service in Afghanistan for over 20 years. I believe history will reflect it was the right thing to do, but I know it was hard. After decades of losing your brothers and sisters, including the withdrawal, the pain was still real. And it was for me as well. Putin has failed to take Kyiv, failed to make large territorial gains, and failed to break NATO. As a matter of fact, when I spoke to him on the phone, he talked about he wanted us to be the Finland of Europe. And I pointed out to him at the time, for real, that you're not only get the Finland of Europe, you're going to get the Finlandization, not of Europe. You're going to see Europe joining NATO.
I hope people never forget how disastrous the withdrawal from Afghanistan was. It was years ago, so it's easy to slip the mind. But let's not forget that hundreds of service members were wounded, 13 died. There was video of people trying to grab onto airplanes leaving and falling onto the tarmac. It looked like a scene from a zombie movie where the entire airport is surrounded and they're closing in and we just leave in the nick of time. There is not one logical reason why any single US service member should have been injured in the withdrawal from Afghanistan. There is not one reason why we left $75 billion of military equipment for the Taliban to seize. And then when he tried to detail his phone conversation with Vladimir Putin, I can easily understand why Putin decided to invade Ukraine. If you saw how we withdrew from Afghanistan 6 months earlier, and then you have Joe Biden not remembering that Europe's already a part of NATO, if you're Vladimir Putin, you have no reason to believe your actions are going to have any consequences militarily. And I know it's easy to just brush it off and say Joe Biden misspoke. He always does that. But that's the point. It's okay if your grandma isn't as sharp as she once was and sometimes stumbles over her words or forgets what she's saying. But the president of the United States needs to be sharp and lucid, always. It's insulting to the military when your commander-in-chief is brain dead. He's a walking corpse. And instead of doing the right thing for the American people and getting him out of there, the Democrats just wanted to hold on to power by any means. They risked the well-being of the citizens and they risked the well-being of the military by not having a competent person in charge. Now, this is where it gets shameful. Joe Biden is saying how proud he is of all of his DEI initiatives that have infiltrated the military. And after he's done listing off his accomplishments, he literally forces the service members there to clap and applaud for it, which leads to this awkward moment. Watch.
Made historic changes in the military justice system, which has reduced the rates of sexual assault for the first time in nearly a decade. We ended the ban on transgender service. We took landmark steps to create more economic opportunities for military spouses. We expanded opportunities for women in combat roles. And I'm proud to have appointed the first woman as a service chief in the history of this country. Clap for that, folks, because she deserves it. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but the women in my family are a hell of a lot smarter than the men in my family.
That one clip illustrates how void of logic and common sense these woke policies are. Why should military service members be thrilled that now transgenders can fight beside them? These are people who clearly have something wrong with them. And at a time of battle, in a high-stress environment, the last person I want next to me is somebody chalked up with the opposite sex hormones. And the same thing goes for his initiative to try to get women in combat positions. You think that if you announce to a company of tough, rugged, battle-tested men that 10 women are coming to fight beside them, do you think they're all looking at each other and saying, yes, now we're more lethal than we were just a second ago. Now we have a better advantage in combat. Now the enemy is screwed because we have these 10 ladies here. There was a hand-to-hand combat fight that was going viral between a Russian and a Ukrainian soldier. It was a fight to the death, a knife fight. And it showed for a lot of people who really don't get a glimpse into that kind of environment just how deadly and ruthless warfare is. If you're a man and you come across another man in a knife fight, it's like a 50-50 chance, maybe. If you're a woman and you come across a man in a knife fight, when we're talking military trained men and women here, your chance of success is virtually zero. So why would we subject women to enter an environment where they're at a supreme disadvantage, all in the name of diversity? I don't even know why this is a controversial opinion. The biological and physical differences between men and women are so drastic, especially when you're talking about high physical demanding laborious jobs.